Welcome to the Radical Pedagogy Lightning Talks. My name is A.M. Darke. I'm an artist, I'm a game designer, I'm an educator. For those of you who missed the opening remarks, I am a new professor at UC Santa Cruz within art and design, games, and playable media. I am also the first Lightning Talk speaker. So, like I said, I became a speaker 3 days ago, and I thought, sure, I can do this. I mean, on New Year's Eve, I went into anaphylaxis and I ended up at the ER. And that's not so important because I was at the ER. I'm clearly alive, that's fine. But the quarter started 7 days after that. And instead of getting to prepare for the quarter for those 7 days, I was mostly asleep on Benadryl. So I showed up to my first class and I said, you know what? We're gonna wing it and see how it goes. So I have a lot of practice in radical pedagogy, and you're gonna get that performance today. So the title of my talk is, You're Doing a Great Job, Professor. And yes, that is a quote from one of my students. It was written in the margins of their homework, and it touched my heart, because I need that encouragement. And that was an example of some of the success I've had in engaging in experimental teaching practices. Also, somebody has to keep time for me because I love to go on tangents. Dorothy, please keep my time. So the talk, I said, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I've only been teaching for a year and change. And I said, I'm gonna give a talk about all these experimental teaching things I've done. I'm gonna have it tell you all the things I've done. And then I realized that 9 minutes is not 2 hours. So instead of that, I'm gonna tell you about all of the teaching I've done in this year, because quite a lot of radical stuff has happened just in the last 2 weeks. I also want to let you know that I have been trying to intermittently live tweet the conference, and in preparation for the conference, I started this Twitter thread, which I encourage everybody to follow if they want to know more. I started this thread, and I will keep updating this thread with resources on my teaching. The first thing that I did is share my syllabus, and I'll be sharing other documents. So I will definitely share out my Twitter handle, and then you'll be able to follow along with my experiments throughout the year. So I want to follow up with experiment number 1. So I started off the quarter thinking, I do not like how syllabi are legalistic, and I have to make them 10 pages long because there's all this addenda that the university wants in there, and some of the stuff is important, like Title IX is important, disability resources are important, but the way that they're framed in syllabi make it seem like the only way I would support a student is because I have to by law. And it feels kind of intimidating and just impersonal. So I told myself, I said, Aaliyah, just be normal, stop doing weird stuff, be normal. But like I said, I was in the hospital, so then all my plans to be a normal professor went out the window, and then I was like, well, I could fall back on that radical thing of not having a real syllabus. And so that's what I did. So the syllabus is not a contract. This syllabus, you can't even see it, but it's 1 page long, and it only has 4 points. And I'm gonna try to focus this talk on just the first point, because I think that's what I have time for. But again, please come find me. I'm happy to talk about this stuff, and you can follow me throughout the year. So the first point is, I'm gonna say it by heart. The idea that students and instructors are not adversaries, right? The construction of a syllabus is usually, oh God, I have to consider every possible loophole students are gonna try to find and exploit so I can cover it. Oh, if your grandma's best friend's mom got sick, you need a doctor's note to miss, right? If you were really sick, but maybe kind of sick, but you were well enough to watch Netflix, but not well enough to come to class, I don't know if I can excuse that. There are all of these, situations in which I have to account for, and first of all, I don't like it to do that. It's boring. That is not why I became a professor. I want to engage with students. The other thing is I'm dealing with adults, and I find it really strange the ways in which I have to sort of treat them either children or my adversaries. So I just scrapped that, and I didn't know what was gonna come of that, but I'm gonna tell you some of the ways in which that manifested. So first thing, if we are collaborators and co-conspirators, and I take that approach, and I no longer think of the students trying to outwit me, and I'm not trying to outwit them, then I can do things like not have an attendance policy. And I have a lecture of 200 students. They are not required to show up to my lecture. I want them to show up because they want to show up, because they're passionate and they're interested in the content. So immediately when I announced that, a student comes up to me and says, hey, so I can't really make it to any of the lectures. And I'm like, okay. And in my mind, I'm thinking, Celia, this was a dumb idea. Do you see? Do you see why you need to be normal? Because this is the thing. And in my mind, my normal professor status, because I'm trying to, like I said, perform expertise, and I'm thinking, what would a professor say who is like important and had authority? And I was like, well, no, you have to deal with this as a co-conspirator. So instead of worrying about, how dare they disrespect me, have the audacity to sign up for a class that they're never going to go to. So what would I do if we're on the same team? Well, one, this student didn't have to come up to me because they know they're not losing any points. They came up to me to ask, hey, I can't make it to these lectures. Can you record them? So they wanted to still have the experience, and it wasn't about the grade. And when I thought about it that way, I said, I don't know anything about recording lectures, but I'll look into it and I'll find out. Turns out I maybe knew a little bit about recording lectures, but I always found it very intimidating because I'm not always the most organized person. Hello. Writing my talk as I speak it. But I am, if I may say so myself, a little bit funny and a little bit charming. And when I'm off my rhythm, those things can carry me in person. In a recording, when I fumble or stutter or misspeak or get a little flustered, I'm like, oh God, the idea that will be recorded to be played over and over and over out of context, possibly without any of the charm coming through, is incredibly intimidating. And so I didn't want to do it. And part of me not wanting to do that is this idea that, once again, when I assume that students are adversaries and I assume that they are looking to judge me, that they are sitting there thinking, who's this lady? What's up with all her eyeliner? What's up with her big hair? She's teaching in games and tech. I don't know. I'm projecting my assumptions about who they are and what they think about me. I assume that they're looking for me to fail. And then I respond in ways that aren't productive to any of us. But now here I have this student and I say, okay, you know what? Instead of fighting you on this, you can't ever come to lecture. Bold flex, but okay. You know what I did? I just went and found out how to record my lectures. And it was super easy, and it took all of 5 minutes, and it's so much better for everyone. It's better for me because I realized, one, I got past that sort of hurdle of being afraid. I can now look back on my own lectures and see what I missed, teach the same classes. I can make this better. My life is easier. It also, in accommodating that one student who I would have previously sort of brushed off, I now have a class where students with disabilities who don't have physical access can be part of the class. Students who are sick or have work or for whatever reason can be part of the class. I have students who are working from home and do group exercises that we do in lecture with their roommates. And it's really inspiring to see students didn't become less engaged, they became more engaged just because of this one choice. Am I already out of time? I have 1 minute. Okay. I wanna say one more thing, because that's all I can say. The first thing that I did when I did the syllabus is the first assignment has been these weekly journals. And in the first weekly journal, I said, read this 1-page syllabus, and then I added some stuff like proposed assignments. All of it was flexible, and give me feedback. Side note, I wanted this so that we could collaborate on building this course, which we did. But the benefit was that every single one of my students read the syllabus. Turns out, when we operate as collaborators, we get some of the things that we want anyway. I was also worried that no one would show up to the class. I'm at the end of the second week of teaching. My class is always packed. My class has people standing at the back waiting for a seat. They don't have to show up. They don't have to be there. There's so much more that I want to say, so I'm going to tweet it. There's all this stuff about radical inclusive feminism where some students walked out of my class. One person called me aggressive. Oh yeah, I did a lecture on on intersectional feminism, and that's all the lecture was about. It was not about games or history. And students were like, whoa. But after that, I had a line of students stay late to shake my hand, to give me hugs. Okay, I'm gonna go just slightly over a minute. I'm just gonna tell you some of the things that they said, which are on Twitter, and I'm very proud of. Your girl just gave a whole ass lecture on Sandy Logs, that's Kimberly Crenshaw, in my history of digital games class. Folks walked out, one called me aggressive, a line of students stayed late to tell me, thank you, great job, keep doing it. One student said that she'd heard of me and was excited to take my class, and that I had exceeded her wildest expectations. I have chills just saying this, they're amazing. I had a student who come up to me and said, you know, I was uncomfortable like you said I would be, but that's good. You make this class exciting, and I want to be here. And then I had one white guy who came up to me and said, I am the privileged white guy, and I want to know how to do better. But I don't know how to do better because I don't know who to ask, and I don't know who to talk to. And I said, you know, a secret of social justice is that we tell you, like, we're not here to educate you, and that's true. But also, what we don't say is it's really hard to learn when you can't ask anyone. So I've opened a space in my class where people can ask any question they want in good faith. That's our operating system, good faith. And I will answer it. Why? Because I'm literally paid to educate them, and they show up to learn. And that's my talk.